Hello, I'm author and organizer Devin Walker, also known as Uncle Devin the Drummer, and I want to talk to you about BeyondVoting.net, an easy and convenient way for you to join with thousands of people who recognize that voting is not our only responsibility. We seek to educate people across all walks of life about ways to redistribute the economic and political wealth in this country from the hands of the few to the majority of the people where it belongs. Here's one of the things we're currently working on. The Obama administration has asked the Joint Chiefs of Staff to cut the 2010 Pentagon's budget by more than 10%, or about $55 billion. In such a conservative country as the United States, this appears to be a huge cut, but it really isn't. However, his opposition will be great. Let's look at the federal budget and see why a cut in the military is needed. The total 2008 federal budget was approximately $1.1 trillion. How much do you think of this money is spent on the military? How about $481 billion? That's almost half of the discretionary budget. This doesn't include the additional military costs by other departments of the government. When this is added, then approximately 55% of the federal budget is spent on weapons that you can't eat, used for housing for the poor, or which you can cure a social disease. Weapons are made for one purpose, and that's to kill. Now, how much do you think is spent on social programs? Not very much. This is why the public health system is broke, why thousands of people are losing their homes, and the unemployment rate is the highest it's been in over 25 years. Now, let's say that we take the 10%, or the $55 billion that President Obama is proposing to cut, and put $25 billion to ensure a universal public health care system that will provide free health care to all, another $20 billion into public schools, including Head Start programs for all children who are in need, and $10 billion to provide housing for the homeless and assist those struggling with foreclosures. Now, for those of you who will say that cutting the military budget will make the U.S. more vulnerable, I would say vulnerable to whom? The next highest country in military expenditures is China, a major trading partner at $12 billion, and Russia at $7 billion. In fact, the United States spends more money on its military than just about all the other nations in the world combined. And pardon the pun, but that is definitely military overkill. In 1967, the Reverend Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. said that a nation that continues year after year to spend more money on military defense than on programs of social uplift is approaching spiritual doom. Wow, how prophetic. Our history of struggle has always been in favor of people over profit, books over bombs, and doctors over generals. What President Obama is proposing is really very little, and we need to let him know that we not only support his proposed military budget cut, but that a similar cut should be made every year while he is in office. However, to make this happen, we have to have a movement that is organized similar to the Civil Rights Movement that forced President Johnson in the 1960s to sign many of the civil rights legislation. This is why BeyondVoting.net is so important, because it helps us to continue to struggle against poverty, homelessness, and greed. United, we will build programs of action that will make the elected officials take notice and help us to take our destiny into our own hands. Join BeyondVoting.net. It's fun, it's easy, and it only takes a few minutes of your time.